Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for the excellent company to go yesterday. I hope you also enjoyed the rest of the evening and had a good rest. Before we move on to today's deliberations, I would like to reiterate the ground rules for our discussions of this agenda item. Given a compressed schedule for this meeting, we ask for your support to tailor your intervention to issues for discussions or actions only, and to keep your interventions to no more than 3 minutes. I strongly urge delegations to keep interventions brief and focused. You will be alerted by Secretariat when your 3 minutes are up. Thank you for your attention.
Mr. Chair, could you kindly introduce agenda item 3A now? Thank you.
Agenda, yes, you. Distinguished delegates, ladies and gentlemen, we will now consider agenda item 3, advancing official statistics for the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development. Let us first time to agenda item 3A, progress made in support of the collective vision and framework for action by groups responsible for regional initiatives of the Committee on Statistics and by the Secretariat as presented to you in document SGAP/ST CST/2020/2. Number of information documents are also provided for this agenda item. In the interest of time, I will not read out the titles and document numbers for each of the information documents. Actually, they are shown in the annotated agenda. Agenda item 3B will thereafter be introduced and the floor open for any interventions, of course, depending on availability of the time. I now give the floor to Mrs. Bayan Chimek Chilka Shuren, Vice Chairperson, Nation Statistics of Mongolia, to introduce agenda item 3A and provide us an update on the outcomes of the electronic consultations for this agenda item. Please, Chilka Shuren.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Actually, I am representing Mongolia from Bangkok. Because of the technical problems, the National Statistics Office of Mongolia asked our permanent representative office here in Bangkok to make introduction. Distinguished delegates, ladies and gentlemen, it is my pleasure to introduce agenda item 3A, progress made in support of the collective vision and framework for action by groups responsible for regional initiatives of the Committee on Statistics and the Secretariat. As per the annotated agenda for this session, the members of the committee are invited to take note of progress made in implementing various regional initiatives. The committee are also invited to endorse the proposed actions outlined in the document and to provide additional guidance on the future implementation of the initiatives with a view to adjusting, integrating, and aligning the initiatives as needed to ensure they collectively and in the most effective manner serve the implementation efforts for the vision and framework for action. Next slide, please. Consultations on this agenda item preceded today's sessions through electronic consultations. I take the opportunity to sincerely thank the representatives from Armenia, Azerbaijan, Hong Kong, China, India, Indonesia, Japan, Pakistan, and the Philippines, who provided detailed and informative inputs. Next slide. The inputs to the electronic consultation emphasize the potential benefits of regional collaboration on accounts and its importance to the work of the committee. The inputs can be summarized as follows. The committee appreciated the progress made in support of the collective vision and framework for action by groups responsible for regional initiatives of the Committee on Statistics and by the Secretariat, and encouraged continuation of the efforts with a focus on modernizing national statistical systems, enhancing use of new data sources, including big data and geospatial information, development of accounts and disaster-related statistics, and expanding use of virtual collaboration spaces. The committee expressed appreciation of the Secretariat's efforts on enhancing Asia-Pacific leadership in global statistics development, gender mainstreaming, development of economic, satellite, and environmental accounts, disaster-related statistics, land cover change, and establishment of the data integration community of practice, and provided advice on expansion of the work. The committee noted the newly configured technical working group on disaster-related statistics in Asia and the Pacific and provided guidance on its work. Several members of the committee also expressed interest in the Global Ocean Accounts Partnership and would consider becoming members. The committee also welcomed the initiative to implement the Agricultural Integrated Survey Program on a large scale and acknowledged the Regional Technical Advisory Board and commented on its composition and role. Distinguished delegates, ladies and gentlemen, this concludes my introduction to Agenda Item 3. Thank you very much for your attention. Thank you, Mr. Chair. Back to you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Davabash Sambu. I now invite any comments on Agenda Item 3A from the floor. I request all delegations to keep their intervention to no more 3 minutes. Given the special circumstances of this 7th session, may I ask for the Secretariat's assistance with managing comments on Agenda 3A and sharing a summary of the discussions.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Distinguished delegates, ladies and gentlemen, to maintain order and for delegations to be ready to take the floor, when I call on the speaker, I will also announce the delegation next in line. Some quick reminders for those joining us via the e-conferencing platform Kudo for the first time today. To request for the floor, kindly click on the Request to Speak button. When your request is accepted by the Secretariat and you're called upon to take the floor, kindly click the microphone on and camera on buttons on the toolbar at the bottom of your screen. Kindly release mic when you have completed your intervention. The Secretariat will be monitoring the messaging function in Kudo. However, all questions or interventions need to be raised through your delegation by using the Request to Speak option. For technical issues, you may reach out to the operator by clicking on the Operators tab under the messaging icon on the right-hand sidebar. To select language, go to the drop-down menu on the left side of the screen. And finally, to prevent echoes and interference, please ensure all devices connected to Kudo in the same room are turned off. Please also be informed that the PowerPoint slides for today have been uploaded on the Documents tab on the right-hand bar in Kudo and also on the committee webpage on the SCAP website. So the slides, if you can't see the screen very clearly for the slides, you may access the slides directly through Kudo or through our website. With that, I will now, as requested by the chair, I will now open the floor for any interventions on agenda item 3A. And the first speaker on my list is the distinguished delegate of the Philippines, followed by India. Distinguished delegate of Philippines, you have the floor, please.
Good day, Mr. Chair. The Philippines, through the Philippine Statistics Authority, expresses its support to the collective vision and framework for action by the Asia-Pacific statistical community in strengthening capacity to produce, disseminate, and use official statistics through its programs, such as the development of the national accounts, tourism satellite accounts, and environmental accounts that can be used for evidence-based decision-making. The Philippine Statistics Authority also supports the committee's regional initiatives in ocean accounting, disaster-related statistics framework, land cover, and geospatial information. As a statistical office that continues to find ways to enhance systems of national accounts, the Philippine Statistics Authority recommends to the committee to continue to provide technical assistance in these areas and share experiences from pilot countries in the compilation of these accounts. The Philippine Statistics Authority further supports the work of the Global Ocean Accounts Partnership as a mechanism for implementing the collective vision and framework for action relative to sustainable management and ocean use. The Philippines believes that it is important for the SCAP to come up with a final technical and statistical guidelines on ocean accounts for approval of the United Nations Statistical Commission. This will give countries the final document that will serve as a guide for the implementation of ocean accounting. In retrospect, the Philippine Statistics Authority expresses its deep appreciation to the committee for providing assistance through a technical visit to the Philippine Statistics Authority and in the conduct of a training on the disaster-related statistics framework. The agency is now developing the disaster risk reduction expenditure accounts, and it continues to look forward to the Secretariat's development of the step-by-step guideline materials on land cover and geospatial information. During this extraordinary time, with the clamor for more timely and more granular data for policymaking, the Philippine Statistics Authority is exploring new initiatives to improve official statistics in the areas of big data, such as web scraping as price collection method, citizens-generated data, and local level statistics through the community-based monitoring system. The PSA is also challenged to strengthen its civil registration and vital statistics system for SDG monitoring. The Philippines commends the committee's progress and success in its initiative, particularly in regional and national efforts with economic, satellite, and environmental accounts in the Asia and Pacific. The agency further appreciates its commitment to strengthen statistical capacity, develop statistical frameworks, and enhance Asia-Pacific leadership in global statistics development. Thank you very much, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, distinguished delegate of the Philippines. India, you have the floor, followed by China.
Thank you, Chair. The National Statistics Office India appreciates the work of the committee and the progress made in implementation of the regional initiatives with respect to the collective vision and framework for 2030 agenda and the technical support provided in the diverse areas like economic statistics, agriculture, rural data integration, and many more. NSO India suggests that due emphasis may also be given to other areas like industry, innovation, and infrastructure, sustainable cities and communities for high quality, timely, reliable, and disaggregated data to bridge the data gaps at the global, regional, and national level. These themes may also be considered for inclusion in the steering or technical groups comprising representatives from member states and international organizations. NSO India recommends the need of comprehensive guidelines for development of regional monitoring and evaluation framework to track the progress of SDGs at the regional level. The interlinkages and integrated nature of SDGs are crucial for ensuring the 2030 agenda for SDGs are realized. India recommends that interlinkage studies amongst steering or technical groups may also be undertaken in Asia and Pacific region in different areas on the basis of disaggregated information available with member states. This will give better insights and understanding on the interlinkages among the thematic areas and associated indicators. India is actively participating in the community of practice on data integration by providing its valuable inputs in development of guidelines on data integration relevant to the Asia Pacific region. As far as COP experience is concerned, India finds it a very informative, a very useful, and a very productive platform for healthy and interactive discussion on the subject areas amongst member states. It recommends that such COPs could be extended to other areas so that collective wisdom and collective knowledge are mutually used by various member countries. And we would like to continue to be a member on this community of practice. Finally, NSO India would like to reiterate the collective work being taken in new areas like prices, web scraping, and satellite imagery. We would like to hone our skills and build on the collective knowledge available with the member states. I would request UNSCAP to also take this forward. Capacity building is also a very important activity because without capacity building, we will not be able to progress in various new cutting edge technology and areas where we would like SCAP to see whether they can create another community of practice for such things. Thank you. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Distinguished Delegate of India. Distinguished Delegate of China, you have the floor, followed by the Russian Federation.
Sorry, the interpreter could not hear. Mr. Chair, good morning. As for the collective vision and the framework for action, as for the efforts made in this regard and the progress made in this regard, we would like to appreciate. And we would also like to appreciate the efforts by the committee and the secretariat on providing specific training supporting country in the region to carry out capacity building. I would like to stress that in the era of big data, in all the countries in the world, we are faced with the new ecosystem environmental challenges, which are emerging challenges. As long as gradually improving the legal building, strengthening the ICT in this area, the statistical source development, we should pay more attention to the requirements and demands of data users. All the countries in Asia Pacific, including China, needs to pay attention to these areas. We need the committee to provide the guidance for various countries. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you, Distinguished Delegate of China. The Distinguished Delegate of the Russian Federation, you have the floor, please, followed by Japan.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you for this opportunity to speak. The Russian Federation sees the progress that has been achieved by the regional progress in economic, demographic, and other types of statistics in SCAP. We support widening the partnership among member states of SCAP, regional offices of the UN system, and international organizations when it comes to statistical accounting and strengthening the capacity of the region. At the same time, we believe it is important to stress the voluntary nature of taking part in these mechanisms that are created using statistics. At the same time, we would like to give high praise to the professional, to the high level of professionalism of statisticians in the region, as well as the Statistical Institute of Asia and the Pacific. At the same time, we would like to stress that we're ready to continue working together and work on various educational programs in the area, as well as conducting various educational programs in the Russian language. The Russian Federation continues to support the Secretariat in their work in strengthening national statistical organization of member states of ESCAP, above all in their main area of work. In particular, by using the Russian voluntary contribution to the Commission that directed in widening and improving the skills in the countries of the region when it comes to monitoring SDGs, as well as strengthening institutional capacity in geospatial and statistical information, with a special stress on land statistics. Thank you.
Thank you, distinguished delegate of the Russian Federation. Japan, you have the floor, followed by Timor-Leste.
Hello. To the time for the I would now comment that I did not include in the specific consultation. I sent those comments in the message. I believe Secretariat include countries' comments from electronic consultations to decisions of the committee and the report which will be adapted in the item 8 appropriately. As the host country of CEAP, we have continued to contribute to the commitments outlined in Action Area E, Skills and Human Resources. As noted in the report, we recognize that programs related to this area contribute to the various other action areas. The long-term courses mentioned in paragraph 72, C and D of the report were to be implemented to this month in cooperation between CEAP and JICA in Japan. Through the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, we received many participation requests from Afghanistan, the Cook Islands, India, Indonesia, Iran, Mongolia, Myanmar, Papua New Guinea, Sri Lanka, Tajikistan, Timor-Leste, and Vietnam. Unfortunately, the COVID-19 pandemic prevented the courses from starting on schedule. We are currently in the process of coordinating with JICA in order to conduct these long-term courses between January and March 2021, intended to inform each country as soon as the final decision is confirmed. Regardless, as indicated in our Action Area E of the collective vision, we will continue to contribute to CEAP in order to promote efforts related to issues in human resource development. The government of Japan recognizes the efforts of Ms. Zita Abbasio, Executive Director of the Philippine Statistical Research and Training Institute, Chair of the 4th and 5th meeting of the Network for the Coordination of Statistical Training in Asia and the Pacific, and Director of CEAP in managing important issues. We would like to support the activities of the network for which CEAP is acting as Secretariat. The training resource database whose development Japan has supported was launched in January 2019. We would like each country to continue actively providing data and utilizing this database in order to contribute to information sharing among statistical training institutes. Thank you.
Thank you, distinguished delegate of Japan. Timor-Leste, you have the floor, followed by Indonesia.
Good morning, Mr. Chair, and to all delegates. Mr. Chair, my delegation would like to comment on agenda item 3 on progress made. Timor-Leste express our appreciation and support to the documents entitled Advancing Official Statistics for the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development and its progress made. We'd like to know, we all know that better statistics will help better decision. However, we would like to seek some clarification on some points. Is that correct that every 4 years, SCAP and the team conducting a region-wide capacity screening to a member state? Is that open request or a SCAP that decided which country to conduct such screening? And my delegation would like to suggest if SCAP can distribute the action plan about when and how SCAP would like to conduct the screening so we can consider and seek SCAP support to conduct such project. My delegation would like to suggest to the SCAP and to the technical groups, the 5 groups, to consider conducting training workshop related to issue they are handling to candidates still left behind in terms of advancing statistic matters, because advancing official statistics is a very complex issue. We need to investigate the data and filter it. So capacity building for us is very important to move forward. In addition, the second Mistral Conference on Civil Registration and Vital Statistics to be held next year, we'd like to encourage SCAP to continue to invite the country that already advanced and success in the implementation of the CRVS to show their best practice and experience to other members. I thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, distinguished delegate of Timor-Leste. Indonesia, you have the floor, followed by Pakistan.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Chair. Distinguished delegates from SCAP, from UNSCAP, I would like to stress some area. We do appreciate the progress that has been made in the implementing regional initiative with respect to the collective vision and framework for action. However, there are some issues that we want to raise for the betterment of the implementation of the future. First, it's about the implementation of policy data integration tools entitled Every Policy is Connected, must be scaled up to cover more countries in the region for with a broader range of sectors. In this regard, the tool has to take into account the country needs and specific issue in the region. Point 2, about the advancing the gender statistic in the region, secure collaboration intense discussion between UN Women and National Statistic Office and NSOs must be promoted. It's very crucial to ensure that the NSO accommodate gender statistics in their data collection activities, survey and censuses appropriately. And the point 3 is about the implementation of the disaster-related statistic framework in the region must be prioritized to countries that prone to national disasters, especially for the Indonesia. Support in terms of technical assistance are needed by the NSO to ensure that the disaster-related statistics are well captured in statistic activities run by NSO. Even there are some countries not as a priority for the disaster statistics. And 4, the implementation of the second global action plan of the global strategy to improve the agriculture and rural statistics has to address the issue pertaining the scarcity of high quality data to support the computation of SDGs indicators related to the agriculture, such as point 2, point 3.1, 2.32, and 4.1 and 5A1 indicators. Some countries in the region, including Indonesia, do not have any experience conducting an integrated survey to handle these issues. Moreover, the integration of agriculture statistics system comprising of the agriculture census, agriculture survey, connecting the agriculture statistics such as big data and administrative data is one area that must be focusing on. Thank you very much.
Thank you, distinguished delegate of Indonesia. Pakistan, you have the floor, followed by Malaysia.
Thank you very much, Chair. A very good morning for everyone. Advancing official statistics to achieve the 2000 agenda regarding SDGs is very much required in the region. The regional NSOs must be prepared to meet the needs of data required for SDGs. The progress by ESCAPE for implementation of regional initiatives with respect to the collective vision and framework is acknowledged and appreciated for each of the 5 actions. The working of steering groups, committees, expert groups, and secretariats is valuable to prepare regional NSOs to meet the demands of SDGs. The involvement of data users is more important strategy than alone data producers to decide about the new dimensions of data collection to meet the SDGs requirements and to generate new data series in addition to routine exercises. The working towards development of global statistical standards for disaster-related statistics will definitely support to reduce the risk and cope with natural calamities and to prepare NSOs to meet the data requirements during emergencies like COVID-19 pandemic for planning and rehabilitation process. Official statistics is the basic public property and public must have confidence in the official statistics. Quality assurance framework is required by regional NSOs. Modernization of statistical business process through automation will support to increase the public confidence in the region. The global strategy to improve the rural and agricultural statistics for evidence-based decision-making and to meet the target of SDGs is the right step. The global working group for big data to produce official statistics is also helpful for confidence in official statistics. Pakistan has developed and maintained very good system for rural statistics through MOSA or village census. This system of rural statistics may be visited for further improvements. Pakistan Bureau of Statistics is working for 69 SDG indicators, out of which 58 have been covered by different censuses and surveys. However, 11 SDG indicators have been planned to cover in next agricultural census and other surveys for which collaboration of ESCAPE is required to clearly define the indicators and data items to meet the targets of 2030. Thank you very much.
Thank you, distinguished delegate of Pakistan. Malaysia, you have the floor, followed by Sri Lanka.
Thank you very much, everyone, for giving the opportunity to express our opinion for this session. Currently, we are in the opinion that we agree with the collective vision and framework for action which focus on the 5 action areas. And we would like to comment on the Global Ocean Account Partnership France. Malaysia is currently involved in the development of the guideline. And we very much thanks United Nations Development Account through UNESCAP for testing and experimenting this project with us for the period of 6 months. And we are also expressing our interest to become a member of the Global Ocean Account Partnership. Since we think that this forum can be a platform that we can share interest and also in terms of collaborative effort, I think we can benefit more from other advanced statistical system. And on modernizing statistical business processes front, I think we are currently adopting the GSBPM as requested or as recommended by the committee. And also we are now embarking on the uses of a data documentation initiative, which is a platform to explain metadata, as well as a DMX for modernize our statistical delivery system. And I would like to add that as an active member of SGRPS meeting, we are in the support of the proposal made by the SGRPS for future program, and we will see this another important steps to enhance the capacity of the nation in ESCAP, especially to inline the program with the SDG as well as the 2030 agenda. And on the SDG part, we are active partners in measure as a national coordinator to compare all the indicators. Basically, we are currently producing a report on SDG together with the ministry and report to UNESCAP as well. And before I ended my comments, actually, we are also looking forward to have or to get or to receive technical assistance in a quite a number of fields, especially on the preparing and compiling more advanced statistics such as ocean account. And furthermore, also we also looking forward to collaborate with other development partners in terms of contributing to national and global discussion about how to can improve statistical cooperation for SDG and 2020 agenda. Thank you very much, Chair. Pass back to Secretary. Thank you.
Thank you, distinguished delegate of Malaysia. Sri Lanka, you have the floor, followed by Bangladesh.
Hello, thank you. Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you clearly.
Okay, thank you. I am Dr. Indu Bandara, Director General of the Department of Census and Statistics, registering kudos system, but I am using my colleague's connection. Yeah. So first, I must thank for the Committee on Statistics for appointing me as the Vice Chair for the second 2022 period. And I would like to comment on the statement under engaging in users and investing in statistics statement under the
Distinguished delegate of Sri Lanka, we don't hear you at the moment.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, please go ahead. Distinguished delegate of Sri Lanka, we don't hear you. We'll come back to you. Could you just check your connection? Distinguished delegate of Bangladesh, you have the floor now.
Okay.
Distinguished delegate of Bangladesh, you have the floor. Okay, we seem to have an issue with Bangladesh as well. Okay. Distinguished delegate of Bangladesh, we don't hear you.
Chair, for giving me the floor. Distinguished delegates, ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to share the initiatives.
Distinguished delegate of Bangladesh, we don't hear you as well. Would you mind trying to request for the request to speak once again? Would you mind disconnecting and trying again? We will take the distinguished delegate of Sri Lanka. We can try again. Distinguished delegate of Sri Lanka, you have the floor.
Can you hear me?
It's very low.
Now can you hear me?
Yes, this is much better.
Yeah. So I am Dr. Bandara, Director General of the Department of Census and Statistics. I like to comment on the statement under the para 19 of the 2022 document. It is actually we have started the drafting NSS for Sri Lanka. We have successfully completed the National Statistical System Review with the support of UNSCAP last year. We expect to launch it within the participation of all the stakeholders involved in the process in November this year. DCS hopes to prioritize the recommendations made in the review report and implement it from the next year. So I think I want to make that statement. And we are planning to have a user satisfaction survey very soon because we discussed many things with under the initial review about the user satisfaction survey. So that is why I want to mention. Thank you very much.
Thank you, distinguished delegate of Sri Lanka. We have not received the request to speak from Bangladesh again, and I do not have any more speakers on the list at this point in time. Would any other delegations like to raise any other matters on this agenda item? Okay, Bangladesh, distinguished delegate of Bangladesh, you have the floor. Distinguished delegate of Bangladesh, do you hear us? Apologies, we do not hear you and we do not see you, so I would suggest it would be best if you could provide your intervention to us in writing to the SCAP email address. And at this point in time, since we have no other speakers on the list, as requested by the chair, I now invite my colleague, Ms. Afsana Yastani from the Secretariat to share a summary of discussions on agenda item 3A.
Thank you, Sharita. Thank you, Mr. Chair, distinguished delegates, ladies and gentlemen. The committee reviewed the substantive and supporting papers under agenda item 3A. In summary, the committee appreciated the progress made in support of the collective vision and framework for action by groups responsible for regional initiatives of the Committee on Statistics and by the Secretariat. And also supported proposed actions in the document and provided some guidance on the way forward. The committee appreciated the support provided by the Secretariat, including the capacity building activities and technical assistance, and recommended to continue these efforts with focus on assessing and enhancing statistical capacity, modernizing national statistical systems, quality assurance framework, expanding use of new data sources, including big data, developing accounts and environmental accounts and ocean accounts, developing disaster risk reduction expenditure accounts, land cover change, integration of geospatial information, agriculture census, and the use of admin data to produce register-based statistics, and also thematic work on specific stages, including the infrastructure and sustainable cities. Also, the committee recommended some comprehensive guidance on SDG implementation and on statistical business register statistics. The committee also appreciated the training courses provided by Statistical Institute for Asia and the Pacific, and Japan expressed that they continue support to CIAP and on human resource development, and also they encourage the information sharing among the statistical training institutes in the region. And Russia also announced that they will continue support to enhance the capacity of national statistical systems in Russian language members and developing training courses in Russian language. And to improve the way initiatives operate, the committee recommended to identify potential synergy and interlinkage and trade-offs among the existing regional groups. And the committee highlighted appreciated the efforts on the gender mainstreaming, and noted the newly configured technical working group on disaster-related statistics in Asia and Pacific, and recommended to set up a collaborative space where the members and associate members can share their experience, and also requested for capacity building in this area. The committee expressed appreciation on establishment of Data Integration Committee of Practice as a virtual learning platform for sharing knowledge and experience, and several committee members expressed interest in a global ocean accounts partnership. And also, the committee appreciated the work on civil registration and vital statistics, and recommended that the opportunity of ministerial conference next year be used for sharing knowledge of the successful countries in this area, and also requested for extension of the work of data policy integrated tool to more countries and also more areas. Okay, this concludes the summary. Back to you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you very much, Mrs. Sero, and thank you very much, Yazdani. This brings us actually to the conclusion of the discussions under agenda item 3A. Distinguished delegates, ladies and gentlemen, let us now turn to agenda item 3B on initiatives by global, regional, and sub-regional organizations in support of the collective vision and framework for action as presented to you in document SCAP/CST/2020/INF/9 and Second one is HCAP/CST/2020/INF/10. Once again, I remind all delegates, these papers are provided for noting only. Can I now invite Mrs. Sara Duto Valero, Regional Advisor, Gender Statistics from UNVMIN, to introduce Agenda 3B. And given the circumstances, could I ask also the Secretariat to manage the country interventions and summary of our discussions?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Distinguished delegates, ladies and gentlemen, it is my pleasure to introduce Agenda Item 3B, initiatives by global, regional, and sub-regional organizations in support of the collective vision and framework for action. As per the annotated agenda for the session, the committee is invited to note the highlights of the current efforts of selected development partners in support of the regional collective vision and framework for action for advancing official statistics for the 2030 agenda, and work of the Secretariat and partners on mainstreaming gender and environment statistics. Next slide, please. The supporting documentation highlights that development partners contribute to progress towards the collective vision and framework for action for advancing official statistics for the 2030 agenda. Their efforts included, but were not limited to, the development of relevant statistical standards, frameworks, methodologies, guidance notes, tools and manuals, supporting localization of the Sustainable Development Goals indicators, enhancing user-producer dialogues, strengthening national statistical systems through providing technical guidance and capacity development initiatives, supporting national censuses and surveys, supporting modernization of statistical business processes and innovative methods of data collection, enhancing data accessibility at regional and international levels, etc. Next slide, please. Mainstreaming gender in environmental statistics highlights the importance of the nexus between environment and gender and provides an overview of a recent initiative to consolidate a set of environment gender indicators capturing issues in the Asia-Pacific region. The list of proposed indicators are grouped across 6 key thematic areas: A, land and biodiversity; B, natural resources, including food, energy, and water; C, climate change and disasters; D, sustainable consumption, production, and waste; E, health, well-being, and sanitation; and F, environmental decision-making. Thank you, Mr. Chair. Back to you.
Thank you, Ms. Valero. Distinguished delegates, ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of the Chair, the Secretariat now invites comments on Agenda Item 3B from the floor. Before I open the floor for comments, I would like to remind all delegates to kindly submit your interventions in writing at the email address displayed on the screen. Due to poor connectivity and audio quality, the Secretariat has not been able to record all the interventions well enough, and hence your submissions in writing will be very helpful for us to record your interventions both in the Chair's summary and also to post it on the webpage of the committee. Thank you. With that, I open the floor for any comments or interventions on Agenda Item 3B. The first speaker on my list is the distinguished delegate of Indonesia, followed by the Russian Federation. Distinguished delegate of Indonesia, you have the floor, please.
Indonesia. Oh.
Thanks, distinguished delegate from UNSCAP region. And regarding, thank you, first of all, thank you, Mr. Chair. And regarding the Agenda 3B, we would like to deliver our intervention as follows. Indonesia welcome the new FAO umbrella program on measuring the Sustainable Development Goal and support the 2030 initiative for implementing the first Indonesian agriculture integrated survey. So for the first time, Indonesia will have women and agriculture, land ownership, and farm-based SDG indicator through the implementation of the first Indonesian agris in 2021. So in this case, BPS Statistics Indonesia welcome technical assistance from FAO and also UN Women. And regard improving the agriculture statistics, BPS has applied the area sampling frame method to measure the agriculture data on food crop. Area sampling frame can be defined as the list of areas, often called segment, which have clear border and can be identified. This method can improve the accuracy of the harvested areas measurement by using the geographical information system rather than the old method by using an estimate or subjective manner. Area sampling frame implementation in Indonesia combine the map of paddy field areas obtained from remote sensing technology, satellite imagery, as a sampling frame and utilize Android and equipment for field observation. Finally, BPS also has been developing other big data collection methods, such as nowcasting statistic by using web scraper for consumer price index or CPI, inflation, occupancy rate, e-commerce, and to strengthen the phenomenon that occurs from demographic and labor statistic results. Thank you.
Thank you, distinguished delegate of Indonesia. Russian Federation, you have the floor, followed by India.
Thank you very much for giving me the floor. We have one comment on the gender dimension of environmental indicators. At the present time, a number of countries are encountering this whole issue of establishing environmental indicators. And of course, this is very important, but in certain cases, it can make it difficult to collect the original data, the basic data. And we need to be very clear in terms of how we approach this for each indicator. Thank you.
Thank you, distinguished delegate of the Russian Federation. India, you have the floor, followed by Mongolia.
Good morning. On behalf of NSO India and also on behalf of Indian Statistical System, I, Ashutosh Ojha from NSO India, make following intervention. NSO India, in order to bridge data gaps on SDG indicators, NSO India has customized multiple indicator cluster survey in collaboration with UNICEF in Indian context and developed a survey instruments and launched multiple indicator survey in India from January 2020, through which we are collecting data on number of SDG indicators using the same sample design. The duration of this survey is 1 year, and this survey will be repeated after every 3 years. We have also aligned our other existing surveys as per our SDG requirements. In this context, we would be coordinating with UNICEF and other UN organizations in future also. NSO India is also in process of putting in place national quality assurance framework for all surveys in order to ensure the quality of collected data. Thank you.
Thank you, distinguished delegate of India. Mongolia, you have the floor, followed by Bangladesh.
Thank you for giving me the floor. With reference to SCAP/CST/2020/INF/10 on the work of the Secretariat and partners on mainstreaming gender into environment statistics in Asia and the Pacific, Mongolia wishes to acknowledge the importance of this work and encourage the Secretariat and partners to continue furthering this work. In this regard, National Statistics Office of Mongolia also wishes to highlight related works that has taken place in Mongolia to pioneer the measurement of some gender environment indicators with the support of UN Women. In particular, the National Statistics Office of Mongolia is collaborating with the National Emergency Management Agency of Mongolia to begin data collection on the nexus between gender and the environment in the context of natural disasters and climate change. In addition, the National Statistics Office of Mongolia is currently preparing a report on the specific needs and challenges that women herders face in Mongolia. With this work, Mongolia hopes to contribute and collaborate with other countries in Asia and the Pacific to enhance the regional measurement of gender environment nexus. Thank you.
Thank you, distinguished delegate of Mongolia. Bangladesh, you have the floor, followed by Vietnam.
Thank you, Chair. For giving me the floor. Bangladesh, in close partnership with UNDP and UNPI, has prepared and published the Bangladesh Environmental ESF 2016 to 2030 under the guidance of United Nations, regional and national guidelines. This framework is a guideline, action plan, and integrated platform for collecting, analyzing, sharing, reporting, monitoring against international and regional initiatives and commitment more effectively. The government has recently initiated the implementation of the Strengthening Environment, Climate Change and Disaster Statistics (ECDS) project for the next 4 years. Aiming of the project is to generate environment, nationalist,
But the thing is,
climate change and disaster-related data and information for institutionalization of environmental statistics in Bangladesh, as well as integration of climate change. Under this project, Bangladesh government has initiated the next survey, namely Bangladesh Disaster-Related Statistics 2020, Climate Change and Natural Disaster Activities, which is based on integration of climate change, natural disaster, gender, and vulnerability in close collaboration with 28 concerned ministries, divisions, departments, organizations, as well as development partners, civil societies, NGO, and academics. With support from PM Power Project in collaboration with UN Women for implementing to strengthen the overall environment, change, disaster, and gender-related statistics in Bangladesh, US is implementing the following 2 types of tasks. Piloting the sex, age, disability integrated data, SADDD, collection according to integration of climate change, vulnerabilities and gender at the 3 sub-districts, the disaster vulnerable areas of Bangladesh. Second one, train up the inter-ministerial interagencies 220 officials of field level on pilot basis for capacity building and generating climate change adaptation, vulnerabilities and gender-related data. In addition, we have also completed the survey, multiple integrated cluster survey 2019, and also published the report with the support of UNICEF. Thank you, Mr. Chair, for giving me the floor.
Thank you, distinguished delegate of Bangladesh. Unfortunately, the audio quality was very poor and we were unable to capture all the details in your intervention. May I kindly request you once again to submit your intervention in writing at the email address that we provided earlier. Thank you again. Distinguished delegate of Vietnam, you have the floor, followed by Samoa.
Thank you. But again, we need to listen environment and indicator as a whole in DG. The purpose of indicator environment the nexus is run mostly assisting
Distinguished delegate of Vietnam, unfortunately the audio quality is very poor. Would you try moving a little away from your microphone?
Could you hear me?
We can hear you, but it's not very clear.
Excuse me.
Distinguished Delegate of Vietnam, would you mind if I come back to you while you adjust your microphone? Thank you. Distinguished Delegate of Samoa, you have the floor.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yes, please, we hear you.
Thank you very much. I would like to, Samoa would like to support this item. And noting that, we like to thank specific organizations who have been able to work with us, especially UNFPA, UNICEF, and SPC in Nomia, for helping us with our DHS and NICS survey, which covered a lot of areas involving women and children, especially specifically to reproductive health, the children's immunization program, as well as civil registration. And we also managed, we were able to collect information on domestic violence and disability. And Samoa would like to continue this collaboration with UNFPA, UNICEF, SPC, and the UN organization in supporting this work. And this survey is conducted on a 5-yearly basis, and we hope to continue. We just want to acknowledge their support. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Distinguished Delegate of Samoa. Distinguished Delegate of Vietnam, can we try again? Okay, maybe we need to come back to Vietnam. I'm sorry, we need to move to the Distinguished Delegate of Pakistan, followed by Malaysia.
Thank you very much. Regarding collective VNM framework, Pakistan has started Pakistan Social and Living Standards Measurement Surveys. Regularly, these surveys are conducted at the federal level throughout the country for monitoring 30 SDG indicators. And this survey is regularly updated and conducted throughout the country. In addition to that, Pakistan is also conducting labor force survey to monitor 11 SDG indicators with the support of International Labour Organization. In addition to that, multiple indicator cluster survey is conducted at the provincial levels, but now Pakistan has decided to conduct this mixed survey at the federal level to cover the SDG indicators at the federal level. In addition to that, agricultural census of Pakistan has also been conducted in guidelines provided by Food and Agriculture Organization in their World Census of Agriculture programs, which are also provided in their publications. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Distinguished Delegate of Pakistan. Malaysia, you have the floor. Distinguished Delegate of Malaysia.
Thank you very much. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, thank you very much for the opportunity. And again, on this agenda, I think Malaysia is strongly supports and encourage development partners' involvement in ESCAP initiative to achieve regional collective vision and Asian framework to achieve regional collective vision and Asian framework to develop official statistics for Agenda 2030. Malaysia is also benefiting from the jointly run program by SCAP and development partners. Malaysia greatly appreciate the effort of partners who add value to the national effort to strengthen the statistics of the implementation of the 2030 SDG with the aim to support the collective vision and framework. We hope that this collaboration continues bearing fruits and enhance the national statistical system capacity to produce a quality and relevant statistic for collective vision and 2030 agenda. Furthermore, we have identified a number of areas that need attention, especially in the action area of modernizing statistical business processes and action area of having required skill set. We are in the opinion that the COVID-19 pandemic had impacting the way statistics need to be produced and meeting the increased demand of more timely and comprehensive data and statistics in the area of economy, social, and environment. This requires quick response of NSO to meet the new demand in the unprecedented period with having requisite skill set is always a challenge for us. As such, we welcome productive measures, initiative, and collaboration among NSO, development partners, and SCAP in terms of enhance the capacity of NSO. Thank you very much for your kind attention.
Thank you, distinguished delegate of Malaysia. Mr. Chair, I understand that you would like to make an intervention on behalf of Georgia. Maybe you can take the floor now, followed by the distinguished delegate of the Islamic Republic of Iran. Mr. Chair, you are muted.
Thank you very much. I'd like to join distinguished delegates from different countries and let me express my sincere appreciation as a country representative of the work that UN Women performs in Georgia. The National Statistics Office of Georgia has been fruitfully cooperating with the in our institutions. I am speaking about violence against women. Apart from this project, we continue our cooperation by raising awareness among users of the importance of gender statistics through seminars, meetings, and workshops. So production of gender statistics is an important issue, but data dissemination remains also one of the priorities. In this regard, it is worth to mention that we have developed gender statistics portal, which is a includes all available information, also assessment of statistics mentioned, which was actually conducted by with cooperation of UN Women. With UN Women is still in progress. We are going to conduct time use survey. I can say that we are happy with launching this very important project, which was never been carried out in Georgia. We are confident that the project will be very beneficial and will enhance implementation of the issues related to gender equality, empowerment of women, and SDG monitoring as well. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, for making an intervention on behalf of Georgia. Distinguished delegate of the Islamic Republic of Iran, you have the floor, followed by Myanmar.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, we hear you.
First of all, I should appreciate distinguished delegates that they gave their informative speech just now, today. On behalf of Statistical Center of Iran, I would like to support this item very much and notice we plan to conduct our next census by register base, and we welcome any contribution for initiatives to convert a statistical system producing statistics producing system to use new source of data such as administrative data, big data, and we support any activity to make enhancements or capacity building in this way. Thank you.
Thank you, distinguished delegate of the Islamic Republic of Iran. Myanmar, you have the floor, followed by Vietnam.
Yes, I have.
Distinguished delegate of Myanmar.
Can I hear?
Yes, we hear you.
Yes. Oh, yeah. Thanks for your providing the input thing from Myanmar. On behalf of the Central Citizen Organization, referring to your item 3B, you already have had indicated Myanmar, we have conducted the demographic head and demographic and health survey in the and last 5 years. Now we will conducted demographic and health survey in next year, but in Ministry of Environment and Conservation, but Department of Environment and Conservation also implementing the environmental statistics. Now we start STL1 about 100 indicator, but now we are trying to get the data from the environmental gender indicator. Now we have so many limitation of the capacity for the to produce the environmental gender indicator. That's why now we are trying to now UNDP also provide the technical system for the to produce the environmental indicator. That's why after the conducting of the demographic health survey next 2021 and after that we will produce more more environmental indicator. Also now we are this year we conduct in the census for 2009 for 2090 now coming about 31st August we will disseminate the Indian census data for the Myanmar indicator Myanmar. That's why we are trying to produce the environment related indicator to fulfill the SDG indicator, also Myanmar indicator framework.
Thank you, distinguished delegate of Myanmar. Distinguished delegate of Vietnam, you have the floor.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. My delegate to harmonization, development, and gender proposed set of development and gender lessons by from existing and chief more, including the SDG framework. It's very important starting point for data for monitoring and evaluate of the environment goal with the national public for gender equality or no one that. However, it's necessary to note that although the environment gender is very important, it's not the unique priority in implementing all country recommended NDT indicators. This okay when relevant income, age, race, ethnicity, migratory status, disability, and any geographic location or other characteristics in accordance with the fundamental principle of official strategy. Therefore, the environment gender indicators have to be considered to align with other entities to ensure flexibility of data collection, avoid excessive burden on national staff office in data collection. Aside from harmonization with other entity methods, international effort and national commitment, capacity building, informatic technology, and resource allocation are very important for a success data collection or environment and gender. Thank you.
Thank you, distinguished delegate of Vietnam. Unfortunately, the audio quality was still very poor and we were able to gather very little of your intervention. So could we request you once again to kindly submit your intervention to us in writing so that it can be captured in the chair's summary and posted on our web page. Thank you. With that, I do not see any further requests to speak. Would any other delegations like to raise any other matters on this agenda item at this time? Okay, I see none. So on behalf of the chair, may I now invite my colleague Ms. Afsana Yastani from the Secretariat to share a summary of discussions on agenda item 3B.
Thank you, Sharita. Thank you, Chair. The committee appreciated the support provided by development partners and encouraged the continuation of this support to strengthen national statistical systems in the region to produce data for SDG indicators. The committee also mentioned national surveys, including the LSMS, LFS, DHS, and MIX conducted to produce data for SDG indicators and appreciated custodian agencies' support on them. The committee acknowledged the importance of Gender Environment Initiative and recommended to further the work on it and highlighted the need to clarify the approach, and also the committee expressed a national effort regarding this initiative. The committee mentioned that besides data production, priority needs to be given to communication and dissemination of the data and statistics, and also mentioned the gender statistics portal, national gender statistics portal in their country. And the committee requested support on use of administrative data for register-based census. That's all. Back to you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you very much, Mrs. Serrao. Thank you very much, Mrs. Valero and Mrs. Yastani. This brings us to the conclusion of the discussions on the agenda 3B. Now, distinguished delegates, Ladies and gentlemen, the committee will now consider agenda item 4B, seminar on priority issues embracing big data to modernize official statistics in Asia and the Pacific. There's one document pertinent to this agenda item for regional and national efforts to embrace big data for official statistics in Asia and the Pacific, uh, namely ESCAP slash CST slash 2020/4. As per the annotated agenda, this agenda item will be discussed in the format of a seminar. And before starting discussions on particular topic, I would like to mention that, as you are aware, global interest to the numbers is increasing as reliable data is basis for any sound policy decision, and we acknowledge that only traditional data collection methods may not be sufficient to address the increased demand on statistical data. Moreover, the increased need for disaggregated data to respond demand of Agenda 2030 for sustainable development has exposed the gaps in statistics from official statistical sources. New sources have the potential of filling data gaps, provide necessary indicators for decision making and for policy execution as well, that can drive targeted policy making for achieving SDGs. That's why there is a need to pay particular attention to alternative data sources, and there is a need to develop modern technologies. To begin our discussion, I invite Mr. Clive Dennis Bepar, Undersecretary, Nation Statistician, and Civil Register General, Philippines Statistics Authority, to introduce the agenda item. Mr. Bepar, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Distinguished delegates, ladies and gentlemen, it is my pleasure to introduce Agenda Item 4B, Seminar on Priority Issues, Embracing Big Data to Modernize Official Statistics in Asia and the Pacific. As per the annotated agenda for the session, we, the members of the committee, under this agenda item, are invited to share our national progress and perspectives on big data for official statistics, specifically to discuss how regional cooperation may support and strengthen national efforts and priorities for global cooperation. Next slide, please. Two consultations on the topic preceded today's session. First, member states and associate members were invited to provide input through electronic consultations. I take the opportunity to sincerely thank the representatives of Azerbaijan, Hong Kong, China, India, Japan, Pakistan, the Philippines, Republic of Korea, and Singapore, who provided detailed and informative inputs. The preparation for today's session also benefited from a Stat Cafe webinar on prospects of big data for official statistics in Asia and the Pacific, held on the 17th of August with close to about 200 participants. The Stats Cafe included presentations from Niels Paw, co-chair of the Global Working Group on Big Data for Official Statistics, Ms. Wana Wei, who is the head of the Center on the Application of Big Data in Hangzhou, and Deputy Director General of NBS Survey Office, National Bureau of Statistics of China, as well as Ali Saeed, who is the Director of Analysis and Development of Statistics at Statistics Indonesia. The presentation highlighted some of the key global and regional developments to support the national statistical offices to use big data. Next slide, please. The inputs to the electronic consultation emphasized the potential benefits of regional collaboration on big data and its importance to the work of the committee. The inputs are summarized as follows. 1. The committee acknowledged the importance of embracing the use of big data for the implementation of the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development and the Declaration on Navigating Policy with Data to Leave No One Behind. 2. The committee noted with appreciation the increased efforts to use big data for the production of official statistics in Asia and the Pacific. 3. The committee noted that the demand for new methods, technologies, and skills is a challenge for the national statistical offices. And 4, the committee recognized regional and international collaboration on using big data for official statistics can further support national efforts and strengthen national capacities through piloting and sharing of best practices, research, experimentation, and experiences. Next slide, please. Based on the advanced input received, I propose the following draft decision. This proposal is naturally subject to revision based on interventions today by you, my fellow members of the committee. First, the committee decides to feature big data for official statistics in its future work with an emphasis on sharing country research, experiences, and good practices. And second, the committee requests the Bureau to propose, in consultation with the Secretariat, modalities to that end for review and approval by the committee, while bearing in mind the need to stay within existing regular budget resources. Let me reiterate that the proposal is based on inputs from only 8 members of the committee and discussions at the Stat Cafe webinar, and as such is subject to revision and amendments based on our deliberation today. Distinguished delegates, ladies and gentlemen, this concludes my introduction to agenda item 4B. Thank you very much for your attention. Thank you, Mr. Chair, and back to you.
Thank you, Mr. Mepa. I now hand over to the Secretariat to facilitate further discussion on this agenda item. Given the special circumstances of this 7th session, may I also ask for the Secretariat's assistance within managing comments on agenda item 4B and sharing a summary of these discussions. Can I remind all delegations once again to keep their intervention no more than 3 minutes. Mrs. Tanya Sayerson, you have the floor, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, for giving me the floor, and thank you, Mr. Mapa, for introducing this agenda item on embracing big data to modernize official statistics in Asia and the Pacific. As mentioned by Mr. Mapa, several members and associate members have submitted written inputs on this agenda item. The Secretariat appreciates these inputs, which all point towards a strong interest for national statistical offices to move towards an increased use of non-traditional data sources and methods. The written inputs received also highlighted the need for further regional collaboration in order to support national statistical offices' endeavors. Members highlighted that the techniques, methodologies, and technology needed for taking full advantage of big data sources often go beyond the current capacity of national statistical offices. In order to facilitate the committee deliberations today and its decisions on how to take this issue forward, we've invited 3 discussants to share their views on the prospects of big data in the region and how regional collaboration can support national statistical offices' efforts in this area.
I would therefore like to invite our first discussant to share your views. Mr. Ning Jizhou, Commissioner, National Bureau of Statistics in China. From your perspective, how do you see the committee providing opportunities for national statistical offices to share their big data projects? And how is China supporting the Global Working Group on Big Data for Official Statistics?
Dear distinguished chair, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. I would like to thank the chair for inviting me to make statement on the topic of big data applications for official statistics. I would like to take this opportunity to make 3 observations. Firstly, the Statistics Committee has played an active role in promoting the application of big data by regional statistical institutions. At present, data globally has shown its explosive growth and a massive aggregation. The era of big data has arrived, bringing important opportunities and challenges to the work of official statistics. As an important platform for statistical exchange and cooperation in the Asia-Pacific region, the Statistics Committee has long been committed to promoting the application of big data in official statistics and has played an important role in knowledge sharing, advocacy, and personnel training in big data applications. In particular, Statistics Committee actively provides opportunities for national statistical institutions to share their big data projects, which presents a good way for national statistical institutions to learn from the successful experiences of other countries in the application of big data in official statistics and to strengthen international statistical cooperation on big data applications. National Bureau of Statistics of China will continue to support the efforts of the Statistics Committee and actively share the methods and outcomes of China's big data application projects. Secondly, the active participation by the National Bureau of Statistics of China in the work of the Global Working Group on Big Data for Official Statistics. China National Bureau of Statistics attaches great importance to cooperation with the UN Global Working Group, and our Deputy Commissioner Mr. Xian Zude is a member of UN Global Working Group Advisory Board, actively contributes wisdom to the governance of UN Global Platform and application of big data for official statistics. In October 2014, National Bureau of Statistics and UNDESA organized the first international conference on big data and official statistics in Beijing. Since then, the NBS and the UN Statistics Division have jointly organized a number of international training sessions, seminars, and forums on the theme topic of big data applications. At present, the NBS, National Bureau of Statistics of China, is actively promoting the establishment of the China Big Data Regional Center with the help of UNDESA, with the goal of promoting the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development and the application of big data in official statistics. The China Big Data Regional Center of the UN Global Platform will create and share the work programs, model, algorithm, and the successful cases of big data applications by official statistical agencies in the Asia-Pacific region and contribute to the statistical capacity building and exploration of new fields of big data applications in the Asia-Pacific region. We we had made great efforts in this regard, and we have built the center in Hangzhou of Zhejiang province. I would like to make the following two recommendations. It's recommended that the Statistics Committee continue to pay attention to the actual status of official statistic capacity building in different countries in the region, actively promote the building of the comprehensive statistical capacity in countries in the Asia-Pacific region, actively explore the use of big data in official statistics, especially the application of big data in promoting the 2030 agenda, improve traditional statistical production methods, and open up new statistical fields and products. At the same time, it's recommended that the Statistical Committee, taking into account the characteristics of the region, promote research and exploration in the area of sources classification, data quality assessment, and the control of big data, and develop standard classifications and guidelines with regional characteristics. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you very much for these insights. That gives a very good background for our further deliberations on this topic. Our next discussant is Mr. Gary Dunnett. He's the Deputy Chief Methodologist in Statistics New Zealand. And to you, Mr. Dunnett, the current pandemic has given many countries an additional impetus to explore new data sources. Increased efforts to experiment with new data sources and the progress made in using big data for the production of official statistics in several member countries. Could you please share your thoughts on this? Thank you.
Thank you, Chair, for giving me to speak today. The Commission for collating today's paper. I believe that there are many reasons why there is the impetus to explore and experiment with new data now. However, today I can only really mention a few. Prior to COVID-19, we saw the rise of fake news, and that trusted information sources were sought. We also know that many national statistical offices, or NSOs, were experimenting with big data in data science techniques, with learning shared through organizations like the Global Working Group on Big Data for Official Statistics, and that experimentation at places like the UK Data Science Campus were receiving wide regard. These gave NSOs a good platform from which to build. With the onset of COVID-19, we found that our traditional data sourcing strategies, for example, field collections, were broken, and that many of our existing processes would not stand up to the challenge that we faced. In response to the need to measure, manage, and combat the spread of COVID-19, our customers were demanding timely and disaggregated data, and not the normal insights. So to be blunt, our annual, quarterly, and even monthly releases were not in demand, and many of our customers indicated that they were willing to trade off timeliness over quality. This left us with a choice: to be seen to be responsive or not, for if we did not, others would fill our place. As Winston Churchill once said, never let a good crisis go to waste. Unfortunately, like many countries, New Zealand has been through many crises to deal with over recent years. Crisis, or shocks, often lead to innovative thinking, relaxing of the norms, opportunities being taken, and we sometimes see unnatural partnerships forming. And this is best achieved if there is a focus on what we do well and what is our purpose. The result was that during COVID-19, like many NSOs, StatsNZ secured access to many new data sources. And in our case, this includes telco, scanner, and credit card transactional data. This data was secured so to respond to COVID-19 needs of both Statistics New Zealand, but also the wider New Zealand community. And with this data, we developed a number of innovative products to meet customer needs. So as an official statistician, I've been very pleased to see the use and value of data in response to COVID-19. I believe our combined responses have been innovative, timely, and customer-focused, But this leaves us with a problem. Our customers now expect us to continue at pace and innovatively while still maintaining our commitment to the UN fundamental principles of official statistics. And we now need to work out how to continue to make this happen. Thank you.
Thank you very much to Mr. Donnet for these interesting considerations. I would now welcome our third discussant, Ms. Malefono Taua Fasalaine, government statistician of Samoa. Ms. Malefono, could you please tell us how you see regional and international collaboration on big data and how that can benefit national efforts and strengthen national capacities? Thank you.
Thank you very much. As the government statistician, I would like to the organizers for sending them to Samoa to speak on this topic. I think this discussion can explain the big data concept and its advantages for information. So I will not dwell on that. Personally, if I can reflect back 50 years ago, most of us in the Pacific Islands grew up in the era of radio, fixed telephone lines, which then changed to internet and mobile phones about smartphones, digital TV, digital payments, etc. The statistics office has also eventually shifted from using paper to copy tablets and using cloud for data exchange. So while the Pacific Islands, while we are still adapting to the new normal in transformation of our traditional data processing to digital processing, the world has leapfrogged to big data analytics and data science. This is understandable as technology is growing and so is the volume, velocity, and various types of data that our statistics office cannot even collect or process with the existing systems and processing for traditional data. In September 2019, 2 members of our course lab in Jakarta in Indonesia came to Samoa through the UN Resident Coordinator's Office to conduct a scoping of a potential course lab in Samoa for the Pacific Island nations. The mission concluded that there is a great enthusiasm from the Prime Minister of Samoa in setting up the lab in Samoa. There is a great interest from the local stakeholders, both from the government and the private sector, and also regional organizations in the Pacific for this initiative. It was also noted that there are several ongoing digital projects in Samoa that can leverage this big data initiative if the project is approved. However, we also need to take note of the challenges such as less than 100% internet connectivity in Samoa and Pacific Islands. There is limited IT and computer literacy capacity and skills. There is limited legislation framework for big data development. There is insufficient infrastructure and institutional arrangement for the Pacific Pulse Lab. The acknowledgement of these challenges will help position Samoa in a better place to prepare in moving ahead with the Pulse Lab for the Pacific Islands. It is important to note that the Pulse Lab for the Pacific Islands will not be possible without the usual support of ESCAP and our technical and regional partners working directly in big data initiatives. Finally, I would like to request that some more data of the global group working on big data as part of our commitment to support the post-lab in Istanbul for the Pacific Islands. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Ms. Malifono, and thank you for this little trip down memory lane. This concludes our discussants' inputs on this agenda item, and I would therefore like to give the floor back to the Secretary of the committee to facilitate discussions and statements from the floor. Over to you.
Thank you, Tanya. Distinguished delegates, ladies and gentlemen, as requested by the chair, I now invite comments on agenda item 4B from the floor. To maintain order and for delegations to be ready to take the floor, when I call on the speaker, I will also announce the delegation next in line. So the first speaker on my list is the distinguished delegate of Malaysia, followed by India. Distinguished delegate of Malaysia, you have the floor.
Hello, Malaysia would like to share its experience in big data development. The Department of Statistics Malaysia has embarked on big data project since December 2016. As a start, 3 non-traditional data sources were explored, which include online price data, video social data, and online news data. And adoption of web crawling technique, price data collection tools in order to identify potential use in physical production processes, i.e. the calculation of consumer price index. Currently, online price data is used internally to monitor price movement and historical price trends. During COVID-19 pandemic, price web crawling methods become very useful since the enumerators cannot reach the outlet to collect price data. The data that we obtain from online social media, i.e. Twitter and Facebook, published by Dawson. On top of that, online news data also can be accessed through the same platform. Latest data and trends, top person mentioned in the news, top influencer on particular topics and etc. can be analyzed by providing the keywords. Besides that, in early 2020, a new collaboration between Dawson with remote testing agency has been set up to explore on satellite imagery data for land use statistics and agriculture statistics. It is also used to explore the potential of satellite data for rural areas during the 2020 population census. This satellite data will be studied to identify how it can be used to improve official statistics on a wide range of topics encompassing agriculture, environment, and socio-economic activities. Therefore, National Statistical Office is encouraged to form a new international partnership to leverage various sources of data for producing statistics. It could be as simple as working together on a cleansing algorithm so partners can benefit from clean data. Private sectors can spend on cost, open up private data, and share IT skills. Thank you.
Thank you, distinguished delegate of Malaysia. India, you have the floor, followed by Vietnam.
Thank you, Chair. Uh, First, it was the SDGs, now the global pandemic, which has put immense pressure on the national statistical offices of various countries to provide data for policy decision at the click of a button. And this itself has put so much of pressure on the statistical systems to grow and mature, to look at alternate data sources so that data could be made available very quickly, is a challenge that we are all facing and addressing. And to compound this, you have the social media, which actually puts a pressure because it not only spreads information, it also spreads misinformation, as my colleague from New Zealand was mentioning regarding fake news. Now, all of this lot of strain on the capacities in terms of human resources, financial, as well as systems and processes in place in various countries to be able to deliver the requirements, and that's why big data plays a major role. In India, we have partnered with recognizing the fact that all capacities are not available in-house. We have partnered with leading technology institutions as well as private sector agencies to help in terms of processing these large volumes of data and be able to make sense out of this ocean of information available. We are also implementing a national integrated information portal, which will try to integrate all official statistics on a common platform. And supplement this, we are also creating innovation and innovation labs so that people can play around, tinker with the data, come out with better algorithms so that the data quality can be improved. And we have a wonderful training academy here in India. We would like to partner with CNAP and UNESCAP so that we can actually build together proper curriculum for training and capacity building on these areas of big data and artificial intelligence machine learning. So thank you, Chair. We look forward to developing these systems and be able to share our experience with other countries. Thank you.
Thank you, distinguished delegate of India. Vietnam, you have the floor, followed by Indonesia.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we hear you.
No. Excuse me, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you, but it's the audio quality is not very good, but we hear you.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Chair, for allowing me opinion on the agenda report. Currently, statistics is facing the challenges of increasingly high data demand in climate change, especially as in 2032 SDG. In Vietnam, data fully available for 30% of the SDG indicators, not fully 50% of SDG indicators, and the rest 50% of SDG indicators. With the decline for statistics, if just relying on the statistical survey, it's very difficult to certify SDG requirements. Therefore, other new data sources such as big data is a great topic. It can be said that big data topic has been in our agenda for several years. However, up to now, given the different development level countries in implementing big data, Vietnam proposed recommendations as follows. First, the guidelines for provision of official statistics on big data should be provided. Second, assess method and legal framework, confidentiality policy, and experiences from successful countries should be documented and shared with countries in the region. And third, technical assistance on big data should be provided to countries of less experience in big data. And that's one point that we would like to do. Thank you very much.
Thank you, distinguished delegate of Vietnam. Once again, may I remind you to submit your intervention in writing since the audio quality was very poor. Thank you.
Yeah,
Distinguished
thank you.
delegate of Distinguished delegate of Indonesia, you have the floor, followed by Pakistan.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Chair, for the opportunity and all delegates. Regarding agenda 4B, we have some intervention as follows. One, BPS Statistics Indonesia already become one of the members of Global Working Group on Big Data for Official Statistics. The Global Working Group addresses issues pertaining to methodology, quality, technology, data access, legislation, privacy, management, and finance, and provides cost-benefit analysis on the use of big data. In the future, we hope that the Global Working Group on Big Data can support any platform for the statistical community containing data, services, information technology tools, and shared methods and algorithms. The platform serves to develop new data solutions and support new data in any sector. Until now, BPS has been developing the use of the big data and other non-traditional data for official statistics. Big data has become one of the sources that include in BPS statistical business framework and architecture. First, BPS has employed mobile positioning data or MPD to support tourism and commuting statistics. BPS collaborated with one of the biggest mobile network operators in Indonesia to produce these statistics. MPD produces the intertemporal location of subscribes approaches by the location of their mobile devices. From experience working with MPD, it is possible to produce statistics in a shorter time lag and lower level of administration level. For the big archipelago country with many blank spots is like Indonesia, the Global Working Group can prepare some application to handle this problem, such as application of satellite data for agriculture statistics and land cover mapping, or prepare the task team on the use of mobile telephone data, which focuses on application for tourism, migration, dynamic population, commuter and transport statistics, and any possibility such as price statistics, trade indicator, integrating statistical geospatial. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, distinguished delegate of Indonesia. Pakistan, you have the floor, followed by Japan.
Thank you, Chair. The recognition of big data and other non-traditional data sources to produce official statistics is increasing globally, particularly when data urgencies there, just like for COVID-19 pandemic. Countries now have started working, or at least thinking about big data to be used for generating official statistics, such as using mobile phone data for mobility statistics or for other information. Global Working Group on Big Data for Official Statistics addresses the methodology, quality, technology, data, access, privacy, and cost-benefit analysis for the use of big data. Different task teams are working for applications of satellite data for agriculture statistics and land cover mapping to use commuter and transport statistics, scanner data for price statistics, and big data for SDG indicators, etc. In addition, useful guidance and fundamental principles for new data sources, applications of big data and artificial intelligence for production of official statistics have also been introduced. Paris 21 has planned a focus on big data and other non-traditional sources for coming 5 years, which will be great contribution. ASCAP and Asian Development Bank are also working for big data in the regional NSOs. Pakistan Bureau of Statistics appreciates all these efforts for generation of official statistics by using big data. Pakistan Bureau of Statistics has prepared new national strategy for the development of statistics, that is NSDS, for next 10 years from 2020 to 30. The NSDS has proposed a strategy for the use of big data for production of official statistics in the country. Therefore, Pakistan is ready to join and work for big data through Global Working Group on Big Data for Official Statistics, as it has been mentioned in the escape document for agenda item 4B in section 5. Pakistan Bureau of Statistics proposes further collaboration at regional level to strengthen the NSOs for using big data to produce official statistics, for which capacity building for using big data may be prioritized in the region. Thank you very much.
Thank you, distinguished delegate of Pakistan. Japan, you have the floor, followed by Bangladesh.
I totally agree that big data is important. However, I'm not sure what is the role of the SCAP. Most of the presenters said that the problem of the global. So the SCAP secretariat proposed the draft decision. However, that draft should be rewrite. Thank you.
Thank you, distinguished delegate of Japan. Bangladesh, you have the floor.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, for giving me the floor. The size and volume of many types of satellite images and mobile phone data are significantly bigger than conventional data used to working with. Furthermore, the representative data sources needs to be carefully analyzed, as they may be focused to specific segments of the population only, unlike conventional data sources that are usually representative of the general population. In Bangladesh, data can now be collected easily using mobile phones to provide location-specific information on government facilities, water points, and environmental challenges. Bangladesh Bureau of Statistics, the NSO Bangladesh, under Statistics and Information Division, has adopted the modern technologies in collecting and processing data. Taking into account the demand-side needs and supply-side possibilities of the new data production, DBS has finalized the data gap analysis and published a document titled Setting Priorities for Data Support to 7 5 and SDG and Overview. Exploring the possibility of sourcing from big data technology to address the huge increase in the quality of data that needs to be generated. BBF has started working to identify the area where capacity building for big data analysis is required. As such, DBS is keen to develop and strengthen partnerships with different implementing agencies and all relevant stakeholders, including custodian agencies of LDG indicators and other relevant international communities. To adapt the new technology in generating official statistics, DBS is looking forward to technical support from them. As part of such initiatives, SID and BBS have already established a set for data mining and coordinating all the data producing agencies and development partners for monitoring SDGs. Statistics Act 2013 mandated BBS to generate official statistics and validate and authenticate other official statistics generated by different national data providers. National Strategy for the Development of Statistics 2013 to 2023 have also emphasized such type of endeavor. SID is providing policy guidance and support to BBS to expedite such efforts, focusing the integration of big data into official statistics and mainstreaming the administrative data with official statistics.
Thank you, distinguished delegate of Bangladesh. Once again, the audio quality was very poor, and you are requested to submit your intervention in writing. Are there any other delegations at this point who would like to raise any other matters on this agenda item?
Okay, thank you.
I see none. So may I now invite the representative of the United Nations Statistics Division to take the floor, please. Stefan, are you on the line? Stefan, we do not hear you yet.
Paul Jansen from
Okay.
the United Nations Statistics. Distinguished delegate, thank you for giving the United Nations Statistics Division the floor. I would like to make the following statement. The United Nations Statistics Group welcomes the report and supports the statement that the use of big data and other non-traditional data sources align well with all 5 action areas of the collective vision and framework for action by the Asia-Pacific statistical community. UNSD further welcomes the detailed description in this report of the work of the UN Global Working Group on Big Data for Official Statistics. In this regard, UNSD would like to invite all member states to join any of the task teams of the Global Working Group to develop handbooks, to run projects, and to prepare training materials in the use of big data. I would like to mention some of the task teams which are currently active. We have a task team on Earth observations. It's the use of satellite data for agricultural statistics. We have a task team on mobile phone data for estimating tourism, migration, population, transport and disaster and displacement statistics. We have a task team on scanner data for estimation of price indexes. There's a task team on AIS vessel tracking data for estimation of maritime transport. We have a task team on big data and sustainable development goals. There is a task team on training, competencies and capacity development. A task team on privacy and preserving tech. And two new task teams. One on SDG 911, proportion of rural population who live within 2 kilometers of all season routes. And a task team on SDG 1111, the proportion of urban population living in slums, informal settlements, and inadequate housing. Finally, I would like to invite all member states to make use of the UN Global Platform, which is a data collaboration platform for the whole statistical community. Various projects are ongoing in which you can participate. I also like to mention the 6th International Conference on Big Data for Official Statistics, which will take place as a virtual event coming Monday, Tuesday and Wednesday. And I'd like to thank Statistics Korea and UNESCO for their strong support in making this conference a success. Thank you very much.
Thank you for that intervention from the United Nations Statistics Division. I do not see any further requests to speak at this point in time. So as requested by the chair, I now invite my colleague, Ms. Tanya Surgenson from the Secretariat to share a summary of discussions on agenda item 4B.
Thank you, Sharita, and thanks to all the delegations who made interventions during this agenda item. In summary, the committee acknowledged the importance of embracing the use of big data for official statistics and for the implementation of the 2030 agenda. It also acknowledged the way in which the COVID-19 pandemic has given an additional impetus to the exploration of new data sources. And here particularly was noted the increased need for timely data while keeping in mind the fundamental principles for official statistics. The committee noted with appreciation the increased efforts to experiment with new data sources and the progress that has been made in using big data for the production of official statistics in several member states and across various domains. Here the role of the Stats Committee was also noted. It also noted that access to big data sources and the needed legislative frameworks were key obstacles to progress in this area, and a need for continuing to share experiences and document existing experiences. It also highlighted that the techniques, methodologies, and technology needed in order to take full advantage of big data sources often goes beyond the capacity of national statistical offices. Here also the need for standard setting and quality assessments were highlighted. Further, it highlighted the important work of the Global Working Group on Big Data for Official Statistics and its task teams, and emphasized the need for training in particular and capacity building more broadly. The committee recognized that regional and international collaboration on big data could benefit national efforts and strengthen national capacities. For example, through the sharing of research experiences and perspectives, collaborative experimentation, partnerships, staff exchanges, and piloting. And in summary, the draft decision coming out of this session, the committee decides to feature big data for official statistics in its future work, with an emphasis on sharing country research experiences, good practices, and capacity building. It requests the Bureau to propose, in consultation with the Secretariat, modalities to that end for review and approval by the committee. while bearing in mind the need to stay within existing regular budget resources. Okay, and I think that's it for me. Thank you. And back to you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you very much, Mrs. Sarah and Mrs. Sersen. This brings us to the conclusion of discussion, the agenda item. Can you hear me?
Yes, Mr. Chair, we do hear you, but the connection is breaking off. Please go ahead.
Yeah, okay. So it looks like we are ahead of the schedule, and I propose moving to item 5 today. If there is no objection. So, distinguished delegates, ladies and gentlemen, let us now turn to agenda item 5, consideration of the future focus of the sub-program as presented to you in SCAP/CST/2020/INF/11. I remind all delegates this paper is provided for noting only, and can I also invite the Secretariat to introduce agenda item 5, and given these circumstances, could I also please ask the Secretariat to manage these country interventions and summary of discussions, please?
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair. It's my pleasure to introduce Member States and delegates to item 5, preparation of the draft programme of work. The United Nations Economic and Social Commission for Asia Pacific Statistics Sub-Programme comprises the Statistics Division of the Secretariat, as well as the Statistical Institute for Asia and the Pacific. Our main roles span 3 areas: intergovernmental dialogue, like the one we're holding this week, capacity development, and knowledge production in the area of statistics, and the aim to be able to empower and to enable national statistical systems in Asia and the Pacific to meet urgent and evolving statistical requirements. The United Nations has recently moved to an annual program budgeting cycle. Therefore, every year we now provide, we've always provided an annual program of work, which is part of, SCAP is part of the Secretariat of the United Nations, and all Secretariat entities, programs of work are then submitted through to Global UN. On an annual basis, this program of work is for the upcoming year. So in this case, for the upcoming year was for 2021. And we also supply a performance report on the year just gone. So in this case, the year just gone was 2019 calendar year. You have in your paperwork a program of work for 2021, which was endorsed by the Commission, the SCAP Commission, in May this year. As the Director of the Statistics Division, I'd just like to highlight a few areas of work. So as you've seen in the agenda, we have a comprehensive program of supporting member states around capacity building in very many domains of statistics: accounts, ocean accounts, national accounts, the improvement of economic statistics to support those accounts. We have a program of work around mainstreaming gender. We have a program of work around population statistics, particularly this year around the data integration community practice. And we also have a program of work around disaster-related statistics, as well as, and many others that you saw in the program. The second feature of our work program is in strengthening statistical systems. And here in particular, I'd like to highlight two areas. The first area is our work with the tool EPIC, the Every Policy is Connected. And I know many countries have helped assist us piloting that work and piloting that tool. And it's a very useful tool for engaging and strengthening your statistical system, because it recognises that you need to understand what are the policies, what are the national policies, the priorities of the government, bring the policy people together for a dialogue, not only with your National Statistical Office, but with other players in your statistical system who have a lot of the administrative data needed to fulfil these data needs. The area of work that we're trying to expand into is this area of big data, and this was the purpose of today's seminar, was to understand your views on the regional international priorities for this area. And as we heard from many of you, there is a very big appetite for sharing experiences, best practices and perspectives, but also to provide some assistance on some particular issues, such as the legal framework required for the use of big data, but also experimenting with methodologies and getting access to data to be able to experiment with those methodologies. So the program of work, which was endorsed at the Committee of Statistics at the Commission in May this year, had a particular focus on this area of supporting countries to strengthen their statistical systems. And we showcased one country in particular, which was Bhutan, because the United Nations SCAP is working very closely with Bhutan in many areas, in close cooperation with the country team to strengthen the data and statistical ecosystem in Bhutan. So by way of introduction then, I want to highlight to you that we do have quite a comprehensive program, but it is very much focused on the production and dissemination of quality official statistics, but it is also increasingly moving towards a program of work where we support you in strengthening your statistical system through institutional mechanisms like connecting policy, having policy dialogues with data users using the EPIC tool, supporting you on your national strategy for development of statistics, and providing some opportunities to share best practice experiences and perspectives on the use of big data, administrative data, and other forms of data to strengthen your statistical system. And this is very in line with the global discussions that are underway around the changing data landscape and the increasing demand to roles around data stewardship, which we will hear more about at the Statistical Commission in March next year. So, Mr. Chair, sorry, I've taken a little bit longer than, but I just wanted to highlight that the program plan was endorsed by the Commission in May this year, but it's moving towards a more strengthening statistical system role, very much in line and in conjunction with our colleagues in CAP, who are also part of this program. Thank you very much, Mr. Chair. I'll now hand to the Secretariat to see if there's any interventions. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Van Halderen. Distinguished delegates, ladies and gentlemen, as requested by the Chair, I now invite any comments on Agenda Item 5 from the floor. I see no request to speak at this point in time. Chair, back to you. Mr. Chair, you're on mute.
Sorry. Thank you, Mrs. Serrao and Mrs. Van Handelen. This actually brings us to the conclusion of discussions under agenda item 5. So, and can we move to agenda item 6 today?
Mr. Chair, we propose to take that up tomorrow, so we will adjourn for the day.
Okay. Okay. So once again, thank you very much to all of you, distinguished delegates, ladies and gentlemen. This has been a very productive and interesting day. It is time to adjourn. See you again tomorrow. I now give the floor to the Secretariat for any administrative announcements.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Distinguished delegates, ladies and gentlemen, the Secretariat would like to thank you once again for your active participation today. We would like to remind you that the session will start tomorrow, Friday, the 28th of August, at 10 a.m. Bangkok time, and we will take up the remaining agenda items, that is 4C, 6, and 7. In session 8 tomorrow, we will consider and adopt the report of the 7th session of the committee. The draft report will be available in all languages by 10 a.m. Bangkok time tomorrow morning on our website. The link is displayed on the screen. We will alert you later this evening when the English version becomes available. Kindly review the report before joining the adoption of the report session tomorrow, which will start at 12 noon Bangkok time. May I also kindly remind you, the report of the 7th session of the committee will record decisions, organizational matters, a summary of electronic consultations, and a reference to the chair's summary. The chair's summary will actually record the proceedings, which will be circulated after the conclusion of the session. Please also be reminded that the link to access the meeting through Kudo tomorrow will be the same as today's link. However, the link for YouTube tomorrow will change and is displayed on the screen. The Kudo connection testing will be open 30 minutes before the session starts, and you're welcome to join the testing. Thank you again for your participation today. Have a good afternoon and see you all tomorrow.
We've just lost our chair. Sorry, we've lost our chair. I'm not sure if we will have to connect him if you'd like to. Sorry, we can't hear you. Sorry, Russian delegation.
Yeah, I have a technical issue. A question regarding the publication of the report today, because I wanted to ask the Secretariat to give to the committee, to all the delegates, 1 hour in advance before, like, silence hour for consideration of the report, because from 10 until 1 a.m. will be discussing all the issues, so one have time just for looking through all the report and our experts as well.
Yeah. So, do you want it? Yeah. So, if you beg our indulgence of speaking without our chair present, because he's already disconnected, the Secretariat plans to circulate a copy of the report in English this evening, which will definitely be before 1 a.m., will definitely before 1 hour before 10 o'clock tomorrow. And then our intention is to have the report in all 4 languages available by 9 a.m. tomorrow morning, which is 1 hour before the start of 10 o'clock. So yes.
Just a correction there, Jamaat, it's 10 a.m. tomorrow morning, which will be 2 hours before the adoption session. The adoption starts at 12 noon, and as of now, the report is supposed to be available at 10 a.m. We will try to make it available earlier than that. But as Gemma mentioned, the English will be available later this evening, all languages by 10 a.m. tomorrow morning.
Okay, sorry.
Yes, I understand. I'm speaking about the now, as it was previously the procedure. So when the committee is given just an hour without any discussions on other agenda items, just to sit for all the delegates and to consider the report and all the recommendations. Because at 9 we are speaking about the opportunity for delegates to receive the report in all working languages of the commission. So at 9 tomorrow it will be like 5 in Russia. So I'm afraid that our expert won't be able to have a thorough eye on the report. So we would like to stick to the procedure that has previously taken place in all the SCAP meetings, when the Secretariat is given like 1 hour before, in advance of adoption of the report, just for all delegates. Like if you plan to adopt it at 12, so just to adjourn at 11 and to give a chance for all the delegates to contact with the capitals, to discuss it with all the delegates, maybe to communicate with them regarding the issues that brought to the attention in the report. I hope it will be possible. Thank you.
Thank you very much, delegation from Russia. We will try our best, as our Secretary said, to have this available at 9 a.m. Bangkok time. The English-speaking version will be available tonight and will be circulated. And this will allow an hour before 10 o'clock. And actually the report, we don't expect to start deliberations on the report. It's currently in the program scheduled for midday. I do fully appreciate the very vast time difference in our region, but we are trying to do our absolute best on this point, and we appreciate your intervention on that. Thank you. I'm very sorry, we were just trying to get our chair to reconnect, but it seems that he'd already had left the facility. So my apologies for our chair not being present for that discussion. We will relay it to the chair because we had disconnected. Thank you.